Welcome back, history enthusiasts. Today we journey into a world that is both familiar and distant, a world where the boundaries between the mortal and the divine were thin, where gods walked among humans, and fate was woven into every aspect of life. Long before the marble forums, the grandeur of the Republic, or the Empire's military conquests, Rome was a city of humble huts, rising smoke from hearth fires, and the constant presence of unseen powers. In this ancient city, religion was not a separate aspect of life, it was life itself. Every decision, every act of labor, and every family ritual was shaped by the belief that the gods were watching, guiding, and influencing the course of human events. Today, we will uncover the rich tapestry of religion and mythology that defined early Rome, exploring household rituals, divine figures, the influence of Etruscan and Greek cultures, and the ways that these beliefs shaped politics, identity, and daily life. Life in early Rome centered on the hearth. Every home, no matter how modest, contained a sacred space dedicated to the Lares and Penates, guardian spirits who watched over the household and the family's provisions. The paterfamilias, or head of the household, held the sacred duty of tending this fire, offering small sacrifices and speaking prayers that expressed gratitude and sought protection. To neglect these rituals was considered dangerous, for Romans believed that misfortune could befall those who ignored the divine order. Clay jars with grains, small portions of wine, or bits of food were left for the spirits, a daily act that connected the living to the invisible forces governing their lives. Archaeological evidence from early Roman settlements, particularly the Palatine Hill, shows hearths built centrally in homes and small shrines, confirming that domestic religion was a cornerstone of early Roman society. The household was a microcosm of order, blending family life with spiritual responsibility. Ancestors were venerated alongside domestic deities, their spirits invoked for guidance and protection. Children learned the rituals through observation. Girls prepared offerings, wove textiles for domestic use, and absorbed the prayers and chants of their mothers, while boys observed their fathers perform the ceremonies and internalized the sacred duties they would inherit. These intimate acts of devotion were far more than habit. They instilled values of continuity, responsibility, and reverence, binding the family unit together and connecting it to a universe ordered by divine will. Beyond the hearth, Rome's earliest myths intertwined human ambition with divine intervention. Romulus and Remus, the legendary founders of the city, were said to be sons of Mars, the god of war, a lineage that imbued the city itself with sacred authority. Romulus's act of founding Rome, selecting its first boundaries, and ultimately becoming its first king was not merely historical or political, it was mythological, an event sanctioned and directed by the gods. Myths like these served multiple purposes. They explained the origins of the city, provided moral and cultural lessons, and reinforced the belief that Rome had a destiny shaped by divine forces. In these stories, gods were not distant abstractions. They were intimate, involved, and often capricious, capable of aiding or punishing mortals depending on their actions. The pantheon of early Roman deities was diverse and complex. Jupiter, king of the gods, represented authority, justice, and cosmic order. Mars, more than a god of war, was a protector of the city and its people, his presence entwined with both military success and agricultural fertility. Vesta, goddess of the hearth, embodied the stability and sanctity of family and home, while Janus, god of beginnings and transitions, oversaw doorways, passages, and the movement of time itself. These gods were honored in both public ceremonies and private rituals, their presence felt in every corner of Roman life. Sacrifices, prayers, and offerings were daily practices, each act reinforcing the relationship between human and divine. Etruscan influence profoundly shaped Rome's early religious landscape. The Etruscans, whose civilization flourished in central Italy, were highly skilled in divination, temple architecture, and ritual practices. Romans adopted the Etruscan system of augury, interpreting the will of the gods by observing birds, lightning, and other natural signs. Haruspices, or religious specialists, examined the entrails of sacrificed animals to predict the future, a practice imported directly from Etruria. Temples built under Etruscan kings, including Tarquinius Priscus, reflected Etruscan design, with elevated podiums, deep porches, and terracotta decorations. These innovations were more than architectural. They were symbolic, reinforcing the sacred authority of rulers and connecting the city's emerging institutions to the divine. Greek culture also left a lasting mark on Roman mythology. Through trade and interaction, Romans encountered Greek gods, stories, and rituals, often blending them with their own traditions. Venus, for example, became a central figure in Roman myth, merging aspects of the Greek Aphrodite with local deities associated with fertility and family. Mercury adopted the traits of Hermes, while Dionysian rites influenced Roman festivals and celebrations. This synthesis allowed Rome to maintain its native identity while embracing cosmopolitan ideas, creating a pantheon that was simultaneously Roman, Etruscan, and Greek, reflecting the city's position at the crossroads of cultures. Religion permeated every aspect of governance and public life in the kingdom era. Kings were not only political leaders, but also chief priests, mediating between the divine and the people. Decisions about war, treaties, and city planning were informed by omens, sacrifices, and consultation with religious experts. A king's legitimacy often depended on his ability to interpret the god's will correctly, a delicate balance of authority, knowledge, and ritual expertise. Public ceremonies reinforced social hierarchies, while festivals and rites created cohesion within the community, blending myth, politics, and devotion into a seamless whole. Daily life, too, was saturated with religious observance. Farmers prayed to Ceres and Tellus for fertile fields. Merchants invoked Mercury for success in trade. Families offered food and libations to Lares and Penates. Children grew up hearing stories of gods interacting with humans, learning that morality, courage, and duty were not only social expectations but divine imperatives. The sacred and the practical were inseparable, forming the moral and cultural fabric of early Rome. Archaeology provides a vivid window into this spiritual world. Excavations of early temples, altars, and sacred objects reveal a society deeply invested in ritual practice. Painted tombs and reliefs depict banquets, sacrifices, and ceremonies, suggesting that both life and death were governed by religious principles. Inscriptions, votive offerings, and fragments of altars confirm the existence of shrines dedicated to household gods, major deities, and imported gods from Etruria and Greece. These findings allow historians to reconstruct a vibrant, multi-layered spiritual life that was lived, performed, and internalized by every Roman from birth to adulthood. Mythology, intertwined with ritual, also functioned as a tool of social cohesion. Stories of divine ancestry, heroic deeds, and miraculous events reinforced the authority of kings, the sanctity of family, and the moral codes of society. The legend of Romulus and Remus, the story of Mars's intervention in human affairs, or the tales of Venus's protection over the city created a shared cultural memory, one that was passed orally and performed ritually across generations. These myths were not static. They evolved, absorbing influences from neighbors, especially the Etruscans and Greeks, creating a dynamic narrative tradition that defined Roman identity. Even seemingly minor acts, such as entering a doorway, crossing a bridge, or beginning a journey, carried religious significance. Romans invoked Janus at thresholds, Mercury in commerce, and Vesta in domestic spaces. Religion was a lens through which the world was understood. It was an interpretive framework for fortune and misfortune, success and failure. Omens were read, sacrifices made, and festivals celebrated to ensure alignment with divine will. In this way, the ordinary and extraordinary were inseparable, the sacred embedded in the mundane, and the gods active participants in every aspect of daily life. As Rome grew, so did the complexity of its religious practices. Kingship, military campaigns, and civic planning all relied on divination and ritual expertise. Priests and augurs were consulted on matters of state, while kings performed ceremonies to legitimize their authority. Temples were constructed to honor gods and symbolize the city's divine favor. Public sacrifices reinforced collective identity, while festivals provided both entertainment and spiritual reinforcement, ensuring that the city remained aligned with cosmic and social order. In the end, the religion and mythology of early Rome were not separate spheres. They were a living, interconnected system that guided the city's development, preserved its cultural values, and created a sense of destiny. They taught Romans who they were, where they came from, and what they owed to their gods, ancestors, and fellow citizens. Without this rich spiritual framework, Rome's emergence from a cluster of hilltop settlements into a powerful city-state would have been unimaginable. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the sacred and mythic world of early Rome. If you enjoyed exploring how household rituals, divine myths, and cultural influences shaped the Roman soul, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. In our next video, we will explore the 7th topic, Roman festivals and traditions in the Kingdom era, diving into the ceremonies, celebrations, and civic rituals that brought the city together in devotion and joy. Until then, keep exploring, because history lives not only in monuments and scrolls, but in every story we uncover.